Liam had never been one for patching up broken ties, least of all when it came to family. His father, a man of quiet authority and unwavering structure, had been the anchor of his life. But everything shifted the moment Claire entered the picture. She had married his father when Liam was already an adult, and no matter how hard she tried, he never allowed her close. In his mind, she wasn't part of his story, just an uninvited add-on to the last chapter of his father's life. Now, as Liam stood at the edge of the lakefront property in Vermont, he felt something unexpected tighten in his chest. The crisp autumn wind carried the scent of pine and wet earth. The cottage looked just as it had the last time he was there, but it felt hollow, like a once-beloved book gathering dust on a forgotten shelf. It had been over a year since his father's funeral. Liam hadn't returned until now. Truthfully, he might never have come back at all if Claire hadn't called. Her voice on the phone had been calm, but there was something in it that unsettled him, a weight he couldn't name. He hesitated at the door before finally knocking. It opened almost immediately. Claire stood there, collected as always, but the faint shadows beneath her eyes betrayed her exhaustion. "I wasn't sure you'd actually come," as she said softly. Liam said nothing, just stepped inside. The familiar scent of cinnamon and cedar wrapped around him, though he wasn't sure if it was real or simply a trick of memory. "I'm glad you're here," Claire said, folding her hands in front of her. "There's something we need to discuss." "If this is about the cabin," he interrupted, his tone sharp, "I've already told you I don't want any part of it." "It's not about the property," she said quietly. "It's about what your father asked of me before he passed. He wanted this place to remain alive, not as an asset, but as a home where people could come together. He didn't want it to fall into ruin." Liam crossed his arms. "He never said anything like that to me." "I know," Claire admitted, her gaze steady. "But he hoped we could try together." A bitter laugh slipped from Liam's throat. "He knew how things were between us. He must have known that was impossible." "He believed people can change," as she replied softly. "That time might leave space for forgiveness." Liam turned away, jaw tight. For years he'd blamed Claire for the distance he'd felt from his father. He saw her as the reason he had drifted further from the life he'd known with his mother. But now, as he looked at her standing there, he didn't see an adversary. He saw a woman who had lost someone too. "I don't know how to do this," he admitted, voice low. "I'm not asking for anything dramatic," Claire said. "Just a chance to honor him. Together." They sat in the small kitchen, silence hanging heavy between them. Claire poured tea into 2 chipped mugs, her hands steady and practiced. Liam didn't touch his. The air smelled of brewed leaves, old books, and the faint trace of his father's cologne still lingering in the wood. Without a word, Claire opened a drawer and retrieved a sealed envelope. She slid it across the table toward him. "He left you this," she said. "He made me promise to give it to you." Liam hesitated before picking it up. The handwriting on the front was unmistakable, neat, deliberate strokes that reminded him of his father's steady hand. "Liam, I know there is pain you've carried for a long time, much of it tied to me. I never wanted Claire to replace your mother, or anyone else. I only hoped to find happiness again. I wish I'd had the time to help you see that love is not a betrayal, it's a chance to begin again. Please take care of her, not because you feel you have to, but because she is worthy of kindness. Dad." Liam blinked hard, his throat tightening. His father had never been one for sentimental words, yet here in ink was something raw. An apology he'd never heard out loud. Claire watched quietly as Liam set the letter down. "I didn't hate you," he said finally. eyes fixed on the paper. I just thought, letting you in meant erasing her completely. You don't have to forget to move forward, Eclair said gently. Love doesn't replace what came before, it adds to it. Liam glanced around the room, and for the first time, the cabin didn't feel quite so cold. I want to help, he said at last. With the house. With whatever comes next. Her shoulders eased, and her expression softened. I'd like that. In the weeks that followed, Liam returned often. He repaired loose shingles on the roof, repainted faded walls, and sorted through boxes of old photos and forgotten keepsakes. Slowly, the cabin shifted from being a heavy inheritance he hadn't asked for to something else entirely, something he could care about, maybe even love. One chilly night, he found Claire sitting on the porch steps, wrapped in a blanket, watching the stars scatter across the dark sky. I used to think moving on meant pretending none of it ever mattered, Liam said as he joined her. She smiled faintly, still gazing upward. Letting go doesn't erase the past, she said. It just leaves room for what might still be ahead. Liam nodded, finally understanding. For the first time in years, he felt the ache in his chest ease just a little. This cabin wasn't just his father's legacy. It was an invitation to rebuild, to forgive, to start again.